So welcome to the National Museum of Wildlife Art's first embarking on mindfulness meditation with a work of art. You guys are the guinea pigs, and I have never led a mindfulness meditation with art, so it's new for me as well. I'm going to give you a little bit of background behind this movement, this artful-looking, closer-looking, slow-looking movement that's taking the museum world by storm for many reasons. And the health benefits that are intricately linked with slowing down and being absorbed by a painting. First, I should say that studies have shown that most museum goers look at a painting for an average of 10 seconds or less. So let's look for 10 seconds. Okay. Think you got a lot out of that? Maybe yes, maybe no. This mindfulness movement, some people call it closer looking, some people call it the art of attention, looking, lingering, discussing. Some people call it pure meditation. We'll call it closer looking movement, has been made popular by the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Getty, the Phillips Collection, the Frye Museum. American Association or American Alliance of Museums has written lots of articles about the benefits of this. And Slow Looking Day in museums, I think it's in April, a lot of museums do this, where they invite people to come as a group and look at one work of art for 10 minutes or more. And quietly just look at it, meditate, and then they break, go have lunch, and talk about it. So they're really absorbing the piece. And this is sort of a pushing back against museums, and for good reason, developing lots of technology to help visitors connect with the collection. We're talking about mobile app tours, which are very effective in connecting with younger audiences especially, and getting information about the collection out there. But spending time personally with one work of art is sort of getting left by the wayside. People are running from one to the other, looking at their app, looking down, talking to each other. But
worse, they're just running and taking a snapshot and moving on.
That's huge, the Instagram shot. I just want to picture this piece and then I'm going back to my car.
And they don't even look at it, they're just taking a picture.
Exactly, exactly. So this movement is a sort of trying to battle that. And people have noticed, researchers have noticed distinct health benefits from this movement. So it turns out that spending time closely looking at a powerful artwork is not just good for the mind and the heart, but physically for the body as well. A February 2015 study in which researchers from UC Berkeley, they determined that experiencing wonder during activities like viewing art can lower levels of chemicals, particularly those that cause inflammation and eventually lead to diabetes, heart attacks, and other illnesses. In this experiment, 200 young adults detailed how much they experienced wonder and amazement. Kind of hard to articulate that, but in a given day. Researchers then obtained samples of their gum and cheek tissue, finding that those who claimed to have experienced greater levels of wonder had the lowest levels of cytokine interleukin 6, a marker of inflammation. So this cytokine is necessary for the body to fight infection, but large quantities of it can lead to diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, and Alzheimer's. So there are physical benefits. So how much wonder a person experiences in a given day isn't exactly a measurable quota, but the findings roughly demonstrate that positive emotions are associated with markers of good health. And art museums are definitely sources of positive emotion, for the most part. Maybe the MoMA, there's others. Rather than seeing a walk through the park or a trip to the museum as an indulgence, people may start viewing these kinds of experiences as important ways to promote a healthy body. So that's another way that art museums are tapping into how they can offer healthful experiences to people. And there are others. Drexel University studied showed that looking at art lowers cortisol levels that are associated with stress and anxiety. And then there's lots of other studies. So physical awareness physical health and wellness can be attained in art museums. And this closer looking is one way to tap into that. So how best do we attain this physical, emotional, and mental benefits of art? One of these ways is slow looking. And some people see it as sort of a new agey, hippy-dippy kind of thing. But I encourage you just to to think of it as connecting more deeply to the artwork. And we'll do this through breathing, through calming our senses, and I'll lead you through this sort of meditation with this work of art. And if you don't enjoy it, you never have to do it again. But if you do, you'll have some tools to experience other artworks in the same way. And I have a worksheet, a self-guided mindful art meditation outline. If you're interested, I can hand these out after. Okay. So, has anyone here ever meditated?
Meditated?
Yeah. Sure. Oh, great. Awesome. A lot of you guys. I did this with some museum employees, and they were like, no. So, you don't have to share. But if, I'm very curious, when you meditate, what do you feel? How does it make you feel? Why do you do it? What's the purpose of your meditation?
Get to a happy place.
Happy place.
Peaceful.
Peacefulness. Yeah.
Slowing down.
Slow down my breath, right, and just relax.
Exactly. Slowing down and connecting with yourself, with your own mind, your own state of being. You're settling into the present moment, which is something that is not easy to do. And art can help us achieve that state, which is pretty amazing. So the aim of mindfulness is not quieting the mind or stopping your thoughts or achieving a state of eternal calm. That's not the point. The goal is simple. We're aiming to pay attention to the present moment without judgment, which is easier said than done. Our minds race from what are we having for dinner tonight to what am I doing after this to, oh, did I leave my stove on, or all those things. But instead of halting all your thoughts, the idea is that you come to a place where you understand when your thoughts are straying. So breath is a powerful tool to center your thoughts. Art is as well. And as you're looking at this piece, if you start to think about what's for lunch or do I need to let my dog out, just understand the point where your brain does that and bring it back to the present moment. It's okay if your thoughts stray. It's fine, it's normal. But just bringing them back, that's the point of mindfulness. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So, shall we start? All right, so I would love for you guys just to, get in a comfortable position on your chair. If you, I know these chairs are long. I would love for you all to lay down if possible. I could hang the painting over you. And the interesting part of this practice is that I'm not going to tell you about the artist. I'm not going to even tell you the name of this painting or anything about it. We're connecting in a different way. We can talk about that afterwards. But for this purpose, it's a different kind of connection. Hey guys. Okay, perfect. Sorry. Okay. So we'll start by simply closing our eyes at first. So please close your eyes. Let your hands rest gently in your lap, wherever's comfortable. And release the tension in your jaw. Let your jaw relax. Let your eyes softly close. Release the muscles of your face. Your lips are gently closed. Relax your tongue in your mouth. Just let yourself completely relax. Now start to draw awareness to your breath through your nose, taking in nice, slow, deep breaths and equally slow, long exhales. So deeply breathing in and deeply breathing out. Slowly letting your bodies relax, letting your mind relax. Whatever you've been carrying around with you all day that you don't need, let it go, just for these few moments. Let all of you, your body, your mind, and your heart deeply and fully relax. Now please gently open your eyes and focus on this painting. Continue your deep, even breaths. Let your eyes slowly move across the surface of this work. Letting letting yourself notice where your gaze naturally rests. Pausing there for a moment, taking it in. What is it about that place in this painting that draws your awareness? Looking, breathing, and then moving your eyes to another spot in the painting. And notice what arises as you observe. Be receptive to your thoughts, memories, and ideas as you look. If your mind wanders, drawing your awareness back to the painting, back to your breath. Imagine how the cool water at the front of the painting would feel if you dipped your fingers into it. Imagine your reflection on the surface if you looked into it, the deep, dark pool in front of you. If you were in this painting, what would you smell? What do you hear? If you were to step into this scene, what would you hear? If you were to taste the flavors of this landscape, what would you taste? With all of your senses engaged, feel yourself absorbed into the painting, as if you were stepping into it. Feeling the richness of the colors. The movement around you of the sky, or perhaps the stillness around you. Always coming back to the breath, to the painting. We will spend 3 minutes quietly observing. Just one more minute. Notice how you feel in your body when you look at this painting. Physical feelings, perhaps. In your mind, your thoughts, and in your heart.
emotions.
You guys are welcome to have me here as long as you like us, whichever you want. All right. Now bringing awareness back into your body by deepening your breath. You wiggle your fingers and your toes, turn your head from side to side. I was going to give you guys all notebooks to write down your thoughts and feelings in, but a discussion is just as exciting. So would anybody like to share how that was for them?
From the beginning of your talking about this, I'm seeing it as an art history major. Was anyone else an art history major? It's really different because 50 years ago we used to stand in front of paintings and analyze them. So I found it difficult not to critique it, sort of,
Well, that's
or
interesting.
analyze it. Whereas you said I think your instructions were don't analyze it, but it's really hard not to analyze it.
Just let it communicate to you without words,
Yeah.
without analysis.
Yeah, that was hard for me.
That's okay. It's hard for me too.
Well, I'm not an art historian, but then I analyzed, that's all I did was analyze things that were, I thought it's wrong, or not where it should be, sort of things, every branch sort of.
Can you talk more about that?
Well, this one branch to the right started this one stoop, with a stump without a bottom, with a couple of these, everything, not everything, but many little things that were off, even the way this one tree branch would come with moss or, over it. Too big on that side, would have been bigger here, otherwise it would have fallen over because it was too heavy. I spent the
looking at all
whole
the
time.
details, which is good.
Oh, no, all the time, I spent the whole time looking for water behind the bear, to think it was analogous to the one in front, like that sort of dark there, thinking maybe there's another hole behind there. I didn't, that's my whole time was, and I'm not crazy.
That's okay. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
The sunset and the water kind of make you feel relaxed, but then that big clumpy thing, it's like, I never quite figured out what part of a tree that left it ground underneath, is that the trunk to it? And then this thing with the two branches was kind of like an elk, the shape and everything.
No, that's okay though. It shows that you spent a lot of time analyzing it.
Right.
The pieces didn't fit for you.
Because it seems like the bear should be the focus, but the bear isn't the focus.
What do you think is the focus?
Well, I think the whole thing is supposed to be about the bear and nature and all of this, but my eyes keep going to
These other things.
the water, the sunset.
Well, maybe it's
Maybe
not. It's
'cause I like
supposed to
that.
be whatever it is for you. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? What was this sort of practice an interesting way for you to connect with the artwork? Do you see why people enjoy it, or maybe it wasn't for you, or?
One more thing.
Yeah,
I
please.
realized that maybe it's because of where we're sitting at this level, but I didn't see that big corona thing
I didn't.
until
That's
after
why I
we
noticed
opened
it.
our eyes. I didn't really notice it till, and
focused
then
on
it
that.
really, after we opened
Yeah.
our eyes, it just
That
hit
was the
me.
first thing I saw.
Me
Really?
too, and I never noticed it before.
That's interesting.
Never noticed it before.
There's a lot of details in this painting that I never noticed
noticed
before,
before.
sitting here and looking at it, and I think he made a frame out of these trees on
Oh,
each
the
side.
frame.
And the branch at the bottom. I think
Your
it
mind
makes a
moves
frame.
around
the
it the
things
way
on
he
it.
does it all, but I just focused on the corona part, for the meditation part. I wasn't looking at the rest of it. I was just.
And how did this Corona piece? Why was that your focus? What was it?
It was the calmest, most peaceful part of the painting, and into the darker background.
Yeah.
To me, yeah, that's all.
I found myself being anxious about the bear.
Right.
It's too statuesque, and it made me uncomfortable. Anxious is the best way. I was calm here and then anxious as I centered in, and very anxious about that big thing.
Well, someone pointed out that this looks like at one point it had fallen, and these are the roots. And is it currently falling? Is it falling on this tree? Is it
It's
coming
a
out?
long way.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with
Yeah.
But we just talk about anxious, but there are there's a bear with 3 cubs that signal, and the babies stand up like that and call for the mother
Oh.
with an anxious type
Oh.
tone.
Interesting.
Because they
Oh.
can't find the mother, or the mother's
Right.
climbed a tree for a nap, and, you know.
And you know, something interesting about this bear is something I think, it doesn't have any eyes. They're discernible.
Huh.
He
It's
has
just
a-
dark.
It's just dark.
It's just dark.
Um,
I think the colors he used are really interesting because, I mean, this is moss covering this tree branch, but it's not green. Like a dinosaur or something.
It's, yeah, it's a very, it's an upsetting, well, the contrasts between the peace
The dark
and
and the
the
light, and yeah.
potential of not peace makes it sort of very ambiguous.
He's one of my favorite artists.
I like him.
Yeah,
He's
he's
one of
my
my
favorite
favorites.
artist.
Right, you could really.
I really enjoy his.
Well, the other thing is, like this tree, a lot of these trees look like they've been damaged by something, and then the ones all in the background are perfect.
Yeah,
Interesting. I never put that together. Yeah, that's a good one.
I make
The
sense.
blasted tree, that's what I can call it
Yeah.
in the art world, blasted tree.
Blasted tree.
But don't you think he's using them as a frame?
Yeah.
Frame with.
Yeah, I think he's using all the trees as
Yeah.
a frame.
Well, he has
Or
that
something.
triangular thing going
Yeah.
with him.
And then this one that's bending over, you're seeing the water right through
Well, and
there.
how lopsided it would look if that one clear over on the right weren't there. It
Uh-huh.
would throw the whole painting off balance
Mhm.
to me. The little spinning one on the right.
Yeah. So if, you know, if you were in this scene, physically standing there, you know, if you're imagining yourself in that place, what is the emotion that you feel? And I chose this work of art because there's such a variety of emotions that people feel when they're in here. If you had one descriptor to use of your feeling in this place, what would it be?
I'd want to go to the lake. I thought about that. Yeah, and the squish on my feet, because I couldn't tell if that was
It's probably
Weather.
very, I bet it's like early summer, late spring, because it's so lush, you know?
much. Yeah, it's lush.
And maybe mucky too, yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of peaceful to me.
Yeah.
But there's that sense of foreboding.
Yeah, but it's not, we're not in it, we're just watching it. To me, it's very peaceful, everything's calm. The bear's not doing anything. He's just being part of nature,
He's just being
doing
there.
his thing.
And is this a little
I
ambiguous?
don't know.
That's right. It's a rock. But this thing called.
There's something
What's this?
Disturbing part. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
I think it's a squirrel. It's a squirrel. It's a rock.
Yeah.
It's like a
Is it?
squirrel or something.
It's a rock.
It's a rock. Okay. Let's add them to me. I feel like that.
And something, did you guys notice the frame?
Yes.
Did the frame give you any sort of, change your opinion about the piece or the symbols? Did you have any ideas about them or emotions about them?
Looks like Native American culture.
Yeah, it looks like pictographs.
And they're on the outside. They're on the outside.
So they are.
And
They
on
are.
top.
Yeah, this one's a little bit different.
And there's one on the top too.
Okay.
So they're sort of symbols of, yeah, they're petroglyphs, pictographs all over.
Do you know what the symbols mean?
No, I do. The thought is that they're from Ojibwe or Anishinaabe tribe that would be in northern Wisconsin.
That's where
or
it's-
maybe
yeah, it's
southern
from
Minnesota.
Minnesota, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. So that's kind of where this environment would be, where he paints. Yeah. And this, I always interpret it as the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because it's visible.
Yeah.
a lot.
But I don't think it is,
See, a lot of
because I don't think it looks like Right.
There's debate about it, and some people see it as this sort of, and I think post-apocalyptic is a word that comes out a lot with his paintings, or an event that just, the mass migration of birds in a Dacian, this sort of like burst of, what is that, in the background, the
It was
only
like
animal in the
eclipse
sea.
last year.
Yeah, maybe it was an eclipse. But there's some sort of crazy celestial thing going on here. Would the sunset look like that up north, maybe? The sun
If it
doesn't
was
set.
smoky outside,
At
it's
first,
pretty.
right.
So it's kind of, you're not quite sure. Yeah.
Because this almost looks like a sunset, but then that over there looks like a globe that's not really connected with the
Looks like-
sunset, so then you think, is that from a fire or something?
Yeah, I thought it was a fire.
Of maybe fire, and there's a strange glow coming out from here.
Yeah,
This dark
Like
vernal
embers
pool.
and-
Well, it doesn't have to be realistic,
It could be a dreamy.
He's an artist, and he
Yeah,
can do
really.
what he thinks.
That's right.
But I don't think Aurora Borealis looks like that.
No, I don't either.
Well, I mean, I've seen the Aurora, so.
So,
In South Dakota, they look like that from time to time.
oh yeah.
Bright white.
Almost looks like a rainbow.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of dance across the sky, they're always moving.
Yes, they do.
But not in a curve like that, they're kind of.
Right, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Upon a time, I experienced a moon glow.
And
these
it
were
was
so
white
I've
like
seen
that.
Those are
Seen a moon glow?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was spectacular.
I didn't know what I was seeing at first.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I just wanted you guys to kind of experience this. So a lot of museums are doing this. And just spending time also learning about what other people think about paintings is an interesting practice. Kind of expands your own horizons about how other people connect. So I'll leave you with this statement. Observing art allows us to step outside of ourselves and open to something beautiful, something different, something unexpected. Art makes us vulnerable and forces us to consider possibilities. There's a nonverbal language that exists between the work of art and the viewer, and art often communicates what words cannot. And in that exchange, awareness and compassion, the two wings of mindfulness, can unfold. Art spaces, like this museum, hold treasures for us to discover, and much like your breath, they are always there, waiting to be found. So spending time with one work, and maybe it's a work of art you don't particularly like, maybe coming out of this mindfulness connection, this slow looking, you come away with a new perspective. Or maybe you end up disliking a work you previously liked, I don't know. But maybe like and dislike are not part of it, maybe it's something different. So thanks for being my guinea pigs, you guys.
Does the artist say anything about this picture?
Oh, so actually, Alexis has been doing some research on this artist and this piece. Could you tell us a little bit about him? Yeah.
Oh, sure. So he feels like his spiritual home is this national park in Ontario that does look like this. And so he goes there quite often to paint the scenery. And they are completely imagined scenes. They're not based on photographs or sketches. They're just memories, impressions that he paints. And he really wants the viewer to experience something, that there isn't necessarily a narrative in his paintings, but an experience. And he said that what he hopes after you see his painting is that you go find the nearest nature that you can and go sit outside for 10 minutes and experience nature. So it's very fitting for this museum. But.
Oh,
And the health benefits of this mindful looking are similar to the health benefits of nature that people are researching now. So art museums and nature, similar chemical reactions in the brain and physical reactions in the body. And how great is this that we have both in one museum? So we're like superheroes walking around here. Yeah, so.
I read some articles a couple of years ago where medical schools are now making art a part of their training. That's
yeah, they've
in
been doing that for a long
healing
time.
and wellness.
We use it a lot. To paint or to look at?
Either.
They call it the art of observation,
Yeah.
and we had med students come in for years and take training in the museum, not here. And it's a real eye awakener for them. A lot of times you start
Right.
people out blindfolded even. So,
I think St.
It's
John
so
is,
focused
Yeah.
on science.
they have a lot
Well,
of
yeah.
wonderful art
It's
in
a
the
great idea.
physician's office building as well as in the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, they say the biggest problem with doctors is they come in nowadays, because everything's electronic, they don't look at the patient anymore. They go straight, and you notice it, they go straight to their computer and they start typing in, looking down, and then finally, they're looking at you, like, why are you in here today?
That's right.
Yeah,
That
I think
sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it's, but the other thing, I was just thinking about tours, I know Gigi and I, they do tours, so how do you slow down a tour when
Yeah.
we have these tour groups come in and you're like, I would love to, like when I do tours elsewhere, we are no more than 6 objects in it, that's it.
Yeah.
How do you do that when you're running these groups around and they're, Gigi, they're straggling all over, they're like tired, and it's like, you can't.
So,
This is a generic question.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
realize.
I was wondering, so
Yeah.
I would say, and I do this with sort of high school groups who kind of back that way too. They're just like,
Yeah, I know, they're like, oh, I'm so tired.
Chief is a big one. So as soon as you
Yes.
come in, say, you know what, guys, I know we only have this long for this tour, but you can make many visitors make a powerful connection with this particular piece that is staring right at you as you enter. And we are just going to sit here and look at this for a minute. So you have your stopwatch, people like that, because you're like, I don't want to do more than a minute, so that time.
Yeah.
And say, I let your eyes wander, connect to this piece, and I'm just going to ask you a few questions after we're done. And so it runs. And then I say, how does it feel to have this animal looking right at you? How does it feel? What does the bison mean to you? And some groups may respond better, but I found that they respond fairly well, and I don't do it for a long time. We're talking a few minutes, just so that they're like slowing down, looking. And I know you guys have a lot of pieces that you focus on in your tours, but maybe in each gallery you do that with a 1-minute look at a single piece. And 1 minute is better than 8 seconds. So.
If you ask them questions, then they have to stay engaged.
Yes.
If you just don't say anything, they're going to be wandering off for sure.
Yeah, you always say, we're going to look at this together, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm really interested in how you feel, is what I say a lot. I'm really interested in what you think. And then they start,